trying to get her to go to the beach, and she refused.
Okay. Did you talk to her about the beach?
I did.
And what was her reaction to you?
She told me she had too much going on and she couldn't go.
Okay. So who would have, if the trip came up, who would have gone?
It would have been me, my wife Jenna, both of my daughters, Ella and Addie, and my father.
Let's talk about Jenna for a second. When did you and Jenna get married?
July of 2015.
And did your dad help you out with your engagement or wedding to Jenna? Financially?
Yes.
How so?
He helped me with the engagement ring, and he also paid for the rehearsal dinner at our wedding.
Okay. And you said it was in 2015?
The wedding.
The wedding was in 2015? Okay. So you had been married to Jenna for 3 years
Yes.
at this point. And when the girls came to visit you, would they stay with you and Jenna?
They would stay with me and Jenna, and then they would stay at the farm a lot.
The conversations about the beach with your mom, was that over the phone, in person? How did you guys discuss the beach?
Most of the conversations with my mother we spoke, but I don't remember exactly how that, if it was text messages or if it was a phone call, I don't remember.
But at that point, to your knowledge, she was not going.
Correct.
Okay. Now, after your father's birthday, I want to talk about that next week, okay?
Okay.
The first week in July of 2018. Were your girls scheduled to come down and stay with you?
Yes.
When did they come down?
They arrived at between 8 and 9 a.m. The morning of July the 3rd.
The morning of July 3rd, and that's Tuesday?
Yes.
So the Tuesday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Did you work on Monday, July 2nd?
I don't remember, but probably. I would think so, but I don't remember.
Okay. So the morning.
I mean, it was a holiday week, so probably, I don't remember.
Okay. Let's talk about the morning of July 3rd, that Tuesday. What did that morning look like to you? What did you do?
Woke up, drove to the airport, Hartsfield-Jackson, picked my kids up. They always wanted to go to Waffle House. They don't have that in Maine. So we went to Waffle House.
Who was it that went?
Ella, Addie, and myself.
Jenna was not with you?
No.
Okay. So how long did you eat at Waffle House for?
30 minutes.
What did you do next?
We went back to my condo and
Where
hung
was
out at 55 Far Road in Buckhead.
Buckhead, okay. And what did you do then?
Just hung out. I had a dog at the time. They were very fond of Oliver. That's my dog's name, or was my dog's name. We hung out, and they were itching to do what they had what they thought planned, for their trip, which is.
And what were their plans?
Well, Addie had already arranged with Cameron, which is Chad Bruce's daughter. My sister Amanda at the time, would eventually become, I guess when they got married, her stepdaughter. They had planned, because they, both had phones. They would text each other, and they say, "Oh, I'm coming down to stay with me, visit my dad, and we're going to have a sleepover at the farm." So that was Addie's plans.
Okay.
Ella's plans were she had this friend Emma, who was the daughter of, I think, this guy named Terry, who he lived on Birmingham Highway, and my mother had become friends with him, and Emma had become friends with Ella, and Ella and Emma had talked, and Emma's mom actually trained horses at this facility up in Cumming. I believe it was Cumming. It was up near the farm, but it was, I know she lived in Cumming because I dropped her off there that afternoon. So they were itching to go. You know, they had plans.
Okay. And none of them with you, it sounds like.
No. I mean, we
they
had
were how old?
Yeah, they were preteens at the time. They were 12 and 14 years old. Like they were very social.
They were busy.
They were busy.
So, did you execute these plans for them?
Well, you know, Addie's plans did not come to fruition the night of the 3rd. She had asked to do that, and I said, well, you got to ask your grandmother, and it just didn't work out. But I did take Ella to Emma's mom's house and dropped her off. She went to have a sleepover. They were actually going to sleep over at this horse training facility, and I think they had like a pool or a pond they swam in, and she was all excited about it. So we actually stopped at Target on the way up there so she could buy a new bathing suit.
Okay.
And I dropped her off at Emma's mom's house. I think her name was Beth, maybe. But yeah, I dropped her off there.
What time was that?
I'd say if I had to put a number on it, between 4 and 4:30 p.m.
On the 3rd.
Correct.
Okay. After you dropped Ella off at Emma's on the 3rd, where did you go next?
Well, I called my father and I said, hey, do you want to meet us for dinner? Because I hadn't talked to him that day. And he said, I'm working. I say, oh, cool. I was like, well, let's meet up and get. He's like, no. I'm at the farm. I'm just working. I said, oh, okay. Well, I was like, I just dropped Ella off. We're going to come by and come see you. He had recently seen Ella because she was down in May, but he hadn't seen Addison since Christmas time. So, we were up there. Might as well stop by.
So you ended up stopping by the farm?
I did.
And about what time did you get there?
About 5 o'clock.
How long did you stay?
Between 20 to 30 minutes.
What did you do when you were there?
We pulled in. My father was in the driveway, sitting on the RTV. I parked my truck, went up to him, and Addie went to get. I just never forget it. This is the last time I saw my father. He said, "Oh, just let me give you a kiss because I'm too sweaty right now for you to hug me." And then at some point my mother walked out and we went up to the barn because I think they had some baby ducks that had been born recently or something like that. And
maybe a baby goat.
I think there might have been a baby goat. I just remember the baby ducks as being the draw that day. But I think there was a baby goat too, maybe.
Okay.
There's always babies of some sort. There were a lot of animals.
Baby animals. So you and Addie walked the property, went to the barn. Who was with you? Was your dad and mom with you?
Yes. We actually went from the main house up to the barn, and then we walked down to the pond to see the baby ducks, and my mother walked down there with us.
Who all went to the barn? All
To the
four of
barn?
you? Yeah. when
All
you
four
walked.
of us went to the barn.
How did you get to the barn?
I drove my truck up there.
Okay. How does your dad get to the barn?
He rode the RTV.
How did your mom get to the barn?
I think she walked, but I don't remember.
And was Addison with you or with your dad or with your mom?
Addison was with me, I think. She might have walked with my mom. I haven't thought about that in a long time.
So your dad was on the RTV.
Yep,
Was he on the RTV often when you were at the farm?
all the time.
Do you know where he would keep the RTV?
Different places. Sometimes it would be at the barn. Sometimes it would be parked in the driveway. Sometimes it would be parked in the garage at the house.
But he had it often.
Very much so.
Do you remember if there was anything on the RTV this day?
Yeah, I remember seeing like dead boxwoods, I think what they were, that he had pulled up and put them in the back because we had a conversation about it.
What was he planning to do with those boxwoods?
He told me he was getting ready to burn the burn pile the following day on July 4th.
He told you he would burn it on.
He told me he was going to burn it on July 4th.
Did you see the burn pile?
I saw the burn pile the weekend before at the birthday party when I was driving the RTV through the woods.
How large was it?
It was big. I remember
What does big mean?
Big means probably as tall as I am, and I'm 6'4". I remember Jenna saying, like, wow, like, this thing is huge. And that's what I remember.
Did your dad burn often, do you know?
I don't know how often. I mean, I didn't spend a lot